goes through the keyhole.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Through the Keyhole, the show that goes from door to door and floor to floor and still keeps coming back for more. As always, we've borrowed the keys to two fascinating homes belonging to two well-known personalities, and with the help of the beloved Lloyd Grossman, we'll be taking a privileged peek behind closed doors. But the question is, whose? Well, to try and answer that question, we have our panel. Just as clothes maketh the man, panels maketh the show. I think we all agree on that. So let me take it one at a time from the left. Our first panelist is one of the presenters of The Really Wild Show. She recently interviewed a man who crossed a homing pigeon with a parrot. So if it ever got lost, it could stop and ask the way. Today, we've crossed David Bellamy with Claudia Schiffer to bring you Michaela Strachan.
2 times.
Our second panelist was once half of one of TV's most famous double acts, before he split up with Eddie Large earlier this year, in order to pursue a solo career. It's our pleasure to welcome him right now, Nick Owen. Our third panelist's interest in the weather started at home in the Welsh mountains, where it was so foggy that she didn't meet her parents until she was 8. She's still trying to find an answer to the age-old question, how did they measure hail before golf balls were invented? Here she is, Sian Lloyd. Right now, let me tell you a little bit about the game then. With the aid of these magic keys here, we'll be taking a careful look inside two fascinating homes. And that should tell us something, maybe quite a bit, about the person or persons that reside therein. All our friends here are going to do is try and work out who that is. So let's join Lloyd now en route to house number 1, somewhere in the United States. And watch closely, because remember, the clues are there as we go through the keyhole.
Oh, gosh, thank you. Thanks. Whoever lives here is so keen on the horses that he keeps a saddle right here in the front hall. This person is also a devoted Mancunian. Just look at this poem, Manchester Boy. I'm a Manchester boy, me mum's pride and joy, a chip off the old block, me dad. I can dance, I can sing, I can do anything. This Mancunian is also enthusiastic about the United States. Look, he's got Old Glory draped over the balustrade. In the sitting room, we can see a real passion for the Wild West, and particularly for the American Plains Indians. There are two very familiar to American pictures here, the appeal to the Great Spirit and the end of the trail. There's also a magnificent set of Plains Indian buckskins hanging on the wall. But then you notice that there is another culture that's perhaps more strongly felt in here. Look at this, a whole set of books on the royal family, and a picture book about the glories of old England. Indeed, most of the books around here seem to be English. There's a set of Dickens over the fireplace, for example, and a jolly old 19th century fox hunting print, one of many. This Anglo-American pot plant is one of a number of healthy-looking specimens scattered around this room, which you might want to call a conservatory, but is really much more of a saddle room. There's an extraordinary collection of different types of saddles here, and a lot of them are very, very lavishly tooled, and they're all beautifully looked after. In fact, almost everything in this room has something to do with the horsey world. There are iron horses, there are pottery horses, there are ashtrays shaped like horseshoes. So this person is obviously completely mad about all aspects of the horsey life. Now, there's a set of prints on the wall which show an idealized view of hunting back in England. But you can see that this person has more contemporary concerns as well, and is quite interested in the racing world. Well, this isn't quite the biggest guitar I've ever seen. In fact, it's a 3/4 size. And you can see that whoever lives here may be smallish, but is certainly a very proficient musician, good at playing the bongos and the tambourine. Now, this room is obviously used for making demo recordings. There are a couple of amplifiers, 2 microphones, a mixer, and a fairly professional-looking tape deck. And everywhere you look, there are heaps and heaps and heaps of cassettes and CDs. But making music is only part of what this person is interested in. It's someone who also likes performing on stage. When you first come into this room, you're immediately attracted to this beautiful bedspread made by Sioux Indians in Dakota. It's the sort of thing that every cowpuncher should have. And you can see that there are more signs here of that love of the equestrian life. Here's a little figurine of a horse on this chest of drawers, and a really rather serious-looking Stetson. Now, there's one slightly jarring note here, the very English tin of sweeties. So even if this person's heart still isn't in England, certainly his taste buds are. Let's look at the evidence. A Manchester boy, life in the saddle, making music. Who lives in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Lloyd. And now for our home and studio audience, though not for our panel, here's whose house it is. Okay then, Michaela, how are you doing?
Very badly, actually. I mean, it's a beautiful house, and they're obviously quite talented, whoever it is, because they can obviously ride. They have an interest in riding, but I don't think they're a rider. I think they're possibly more a country singer, maybe. Or maybe not.
Country no, singer yes.
They're a singer, right. I don't think it's a pop singer, though, is it? It is.
All right, on to you, Nick.
First of all, when I saw the buckskins and all the sort of native American Indians connection, I thought it must be Tonto. But I realised it wasn't. Now, I think Manchester connection is interesting. I mean, it must be... presumably, a British singer is now based over there. Yes, yes.
That's right. Sharon?
And would this be a British singer who was part of a band? And would that band have been famous perhaps in the 60s?
Is this woman cooking with gas? Carry on.
I can only think of, would the band be named after an animal? Monkeys. It couldn't be Davy Jones.
Well, in fact, Davy Jones is currently on tour in the United States, so he can't be with us here in Leeds right now, altogether. However, we caught up with him on tour, and here he is. Well, Lloyd greatly enjoyed his trip to Beavertown, Pennsylvania.
God's country.
God's country, what a great
Beautiful.
name.
Pennsylvania reminds me very much of England, especially Hampshire, where I have a house too. But I love, I've lived in America actually since 1962, when I went over to do Oliver, the Artful Dodger in Oliver. And I finally found that little place out in the middle of nowhere. Everyone said, Beavertown, I say. It's just away from the maddening crowd.
Lloyd picked up, obviously, on the horsey theme, the love of the equestrian life, as he put it, and so on, which is everywhere in the house and outside the house. And that goes right back to your roots and right back to your childhood, doesn't it? You nearly became a jockey at the age of 14, didn't you?
Yeah, I left school and went to Newmarket, and I was training for a short while. I'd actually done a couple of theatrical things. I'd been in Coronation Street. I was Ina Sharple's grandson, and Zed Cars, and a few plays by Bill Norton and some other good playwrights. And when I went to Newmarket, I was riding up the gallops, you know, and I'd hear people say, "Oh, that's Ina Sharple's grandson." So actually some owners, he was an agent, the agent of Charlie Drake and Bob Grant and some other people owned horses. And the trainer says, "This boy's in show business. Well, we'll take him up to London." Auditioned me for The Artful Dodger, and I got the role, and off to America I went. It was great.
We've talked a bit about the past. You're about to project the past into the future now, aren't you? Because you're going to do a reunion tour of the Monkees. They originally advertised for 4 insane boys, 17 to 21. They're going to be getting now 4 insane men aged 50 to 54.
We're going to do it again. We're going to tour England in March, playing some stadiums, Mickey, Mike, Peter, and myself. We have a brand new album out called Just Us, which is doing quite well in the States, and hopefully we'll do the same here. We have a TV special for ABC that's out in February.
But this will be the first time before you performed live.
In 30 years.
In 30 years. Do you think it will be the same?
No, it's going to be different, but it's going to be just as exciting, and hopefully it'll be as entertaining as it was when we did it the first time around.
Well, in conclusion, Davy, I'd like to present you with this priceless antique we have here that we threw the Keyhole key, which to put alongside the cutest guy on Nickelodeon Award or whatever. Here it is, priceless.
Thank
Hold
you.
it carefully.
Thank you so much. I will treasure this always.
Bless you.
Thank you. Got the key to the door.
Our thanks to Davy Jones. I wonder who's next.